Identify your motivation and your passion. My friend Dan Miller is a career coach, one of the leading career coaches in the nation, and he says money is ultimately never enough compensation for doing your job. He has coached and tells stories about coaching doctors who become drug addicts because they hate their life and they're making $300,000 a year. He's coached plenty of people that make tons of money and hate what they're doing. They hate their job and they hate their life because of it. And they enter into self-destructive things in their relationships and all throughout their money, even though they have this wonderful income. Money is ultimately never enough. Now, it's a good idea to go make some money, and we want to concentrate on creating an income so we can do the things we talk about in the other 12 lessons here, okay? But at the end of the day, money is, if that is your only motivator, you're taking a kid who has no aptitude in math and you're trying to make them into a chemical engineer. And you're going to be miserable your whole life trying to make your mother happy. That is not a plan. Berkeley did a study on this back in the 60s. They took guys out in a field, psychology department did the study, and they paid them minimum wage. We'll use today's dollars just to make it an example. You know, they paid them like maybe, let's say $7 an hour. And they paid them $7 an hour, broke college kids, to be in this psychological study. And they had them dig a ditch for 4 hours. At the end of 4 hours, they took a lunch break and they said, okay, now fill the ditch back in. And the guy says, why are we filling it back in? He said, doesn't matter, it's your job. You're paying $7 an hour, fill the ditch back in. Fill the ditch back in. At the end of the day, no work had been accomplished. They dug it out the first half, they filled it in the second half. He said, when you come back tomorrow, we're going to double your pay from $7 to $14. And 40% of them didn't show the next day. And they dug a ditch for 4 hours, the ones that showed up. And at the end of the lunch break, they said, fill the ditch back in. Why are we doing this? This doesn't seem to have any purpose to it. Doesn't matter. It's just a job. We're paying you $14 an hour, and that's like double, triple what anybody else is making out there. Just do what we say. Fill the ditch back in. You don't have to understand why. Just do it. The next morning, they said, when you come back tomorrow, we're going to be paying you $21 an hour. 40% didn't show. They quit anyway. They doubled their pay every day, and they quit anyway because the work had no meaning, it had no purpose. If we're digging a ditch to lay an electric line, we'll dig a ditch. It has to have somewhere that we're going with this. Money ultimately is not enough compensation for doing the job.
As an adult, I plan on making about $60 to $80 a year. I guess $45,000 a year.
I plan on making probably about $35,000 a year.
I plan on making around $30,000 a year.
I plan on making about $30,000 a year as an adult.
Mark Twain said it this way. He said, the secret of success is making your vocation a vacation. Dan Miller, what he's become famous for in his book, 48 Days to the Work You Love, which is a fabulous book, he says find something that blends your skills, your abilities, your personality traits, your values, your dreams, and your passions. Now, there's a whole list there. Your skills and abilities, your personality traits and values, and your dreams and passions. If you can find something that you're doing all of that in your career, you are going to be on fire. You're going to be creative. You're going to have energy at the end of an unbelievably long week. You're going to be able to keep going and keep going and keep going. And people are going to go, why aren't you tired? That's because God put me on the planet to do this. And people are going to be amazed at how you function and how you're at such a high level because you're functioning in your skills, in your abilities, within your normal personality style, your values. You're not doing something perpendicular with something you don't believe in. You know, it'd be a little tough for me to be passionate about selling credit cards, wouldn't it? Because that goes against everything I believe, doesn't it? Even if it was a dream and they showed me how much money I could make, it wouldn't matter because it goes against my value system. So have a dream, have a passion, and be picking out careers and directions that you're going with your work that reflect in that. Do work you love. Your ethics must align with what you're doing. You know, around our place, you know, working on our team, we've got several hundred folks working on our team right now. And one of the rules we tell people, one of the core values when they're coming on board, when they're being interviewed is you have to love your job. Doesn't mean you can't have a bad day. Doesn't mean you can't get mad. Doesn't mean you can't get frustrated. Doesn't mean you can't have a fight with somebody inside the building. All that stuff happens. We got people in there, doesn't it? But you can't come to work day after day, week after week going, I hate my job. I hate my job. I will fire you just for hating your job. Why? Because I don't want to pay people who hate coming around. because they're obviously not going to be really good at what they do. This is not hard to figure out. And it's my job to set them free to go find what it is they love doing.
Well, most people, when they graduate from high school, and sometimes even when they graduate from college, don't know what they want to be when they grow up. And a good idea is to really search yourself. What are your natural tendencies? Are you a detail person? Are you a people person? And start to look at kind of your personality style. And then think about what types of careers you could plug into that you're naturally going to flow into. If you hate details, you probably don't want to be a CPA, an accountant. If you're really a detail person and people interaction is something that you really just don't cherish, maybe sales is not for you. So kind of begin to rule out some things like that and begin to find things that you just naturally enjoy. The best career choices are the things that you do, that you love it every day. The best vocation becomes a vacation.
Sometimes people think that if I just got a degree, everything would be okay. If I just had that skill set, I'd be okay. Don't get confused with that either. There's a great book out called EQ, Emotional Quotient, as opposed to IQ. It's juxtaposed to that, in other words. And what they found in the studies they did for that book was that in the formula that creates success, only 15% of what creates success is formal training in academics. 85% of what creates success is passion, perseverance, character traits and attributes, integrity, things like that are what cause people to win long term. It's not the next degree. It's not, if I just had that class, I would be over the top. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You need to get the class and you need to get the knowledge and grow. There's nothing wrong with academics. Learn, 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 learn. But quit thinking if I just gather up another degree, then I'll be successful. Success is more about other things than it is about just gathering up degrees in academics.
College is essential as far as I'm concerned. Can you be successful without college? Oh, absolutely. People are every day. And depending on the field you want to go into, if you're going into something very technical, then a lot of times college isn't the place to go. But I'll tell you, college is never a waste. Learning how to learn and developing a friendship with academics, everyone that is successful, whether they go to college or not, are lifelong learners. So you're always in books, you're always in classes, you're always learning stuff online and doing different things like that. I am to this day doing those things. And so I strongly recommend that you develop a lifetime love affair with books and with learning. College is a great way to do that.
The cool thing in this whole process is you need to take the time to understand your unique personality. The DISC profile will yield tremendous insight into what your natural tendencies will be. We use the DISC profile not as an absolute, but it's just a general guideline to kind of discuss the differences in people within our organization and people that are entering our organization. We even use it to talk about the differences in our marriage between Sharon and I, because it outlines and you kind of start to go, oh, I understand me. The first time we ever ran one of these was many, many years ago on me, and I had the little profile and it described the tendencies of the person, and I brought it home and my wife read it and she said, oh, that's what's wrong with you. In other words, I kind of understand you now. And so learn about your personality traits. The DISC is the D-I-S-C. The D stands for the dominant. About 10% of the public fall into this category. The D, the driving. They're hard driving, dominant. Gary Smalley and John Trent, when they teach this stuff, they use animals to represent these different personality styles. They use the lion in this one. This person is dominant, hard-charging, a driver. They can be very task-oriented, and they first look to problems. They look at everything as solving a problem. The I, the influencing, is the otter. This person is a party looking for a place to happen. About a fourth of these people, they're also called expressives sometimes. About a fourth of the population fall into this category. This person is people-oriented, outgoing, generally concerned about people-pleasing, and as such first looks to people when a situation occurs. They look at things through the eyes of people. Everything's a people-oriented thing. The S, about 40% of the public, almost half, the largest of the 4 quadrants, fall into this, is stable, loyal, the golden retriever. These people are amiable, steady, easy to get along with. This person's stable, amiable, loyal, does not like conflict. And they're concerned with pace, concerned about pace, how fast things are going. These are the people that go, if you'll just slow down a little bit, I can think. The C is the compliant, the beaver, the analytical, about 1/4 of these people. These are the detail people. This person's logical, analytical, loves detail, they're factual, they can seem very rigid, they love procedures. Now that D, that lion, is the take charge person. They like power, they're bold, they're bottom line, they can hurt your feelings, they can turn people off, they overlook details, hard charging, but they get stuff done. The I, on the other hand, the otter, again, they're good talkers, they're outgoing, they're entertaining to people, they're impulsive, they can waste your time, they won't be quiet, and they lose sight of the task. Because the task is not what matters, it's the party that matters. It's all about the party, baby. And the S, the stable, the golden retriever, again, they hate conflict. They're steady, loyal, calm, understanding, slow to act. They're low profile. They can seem unenthusiastic. Lions scare them to death. The S is very stable, very predictable, but they hate conflict. If you put them in a situation for conflict, they will run from conflict. Conflict to them is death. The C, the compliant, the beaver, the melancholy, 25% of these people, they're analytical, love detail, very logical, factual, can seem rigid. Barney Fife. I like the rules, and the rules are this, and if you don't keep the rules are what matter. Everything's got a rule, and there's a process, and I'm really glad you're giving us steps. Baby steps, there's a rule there, and there's a reason those steps are there, and we'll never violate those steps. And the I's going, yeah, well, what about budgeting for a party? And the D is going, what do you mean it takes 2.5 years to get out of debt on average, or 18 months to get out of debt on average? I'm doing it right now. Gazelle intensity, I eat gazelles, baby. And the S is going, can't everyone just get along? And if you look at the profile in the disc, the whole 4 thing on the next page, it also gives you another indication about who's fast to make decisions or slow to make decisions. The top of the page, the I and the D make decisions very quickly, very fast. I'm an ID, right at the line, at the very top of both. A lot of both. And so I can make a decision in a heartbeat. And if I don't like it, I'll make another decision. Make decisions really, really quick. The S, on the other hand, my wife, a couple of my kids are down there. They're S's and C's, very detailed, very calm. If we wait on them to make a decision on where we're going out to eat, we will all die of hunger. So this conversation, we're just driving along, trying to talk this out. And finally, since we cannot all come and just get along, Dave just chooses. And then we eat quietly because we're all mad because we couldn't make a decision.